I am the Forever Fitness Nutritionist. Oh, there we go. Now we're live. Awesome. So, hi everyone. My name is Rachel Rodriguez. I'm the Forever Fitness Nutritionist here and nutrition educator. We're excited to release our second monthly nutrition seminar. So, for this month, we have a special guest speaker, Mitchell Milbrand. Right? I don't want to say that wrong.
Yeah.
But he's here to talk to us a little bit about powerlifting, bodybuilding, and how nutrition is all incorporated. So with further ado, I'll let Mitchell go ahead and just introduce himself and give us a little bit of a background on him.
So like Rachel said, I'm Mitch Milbrand. I am a senior dietetic major at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. So I'll be graduating with Rachel in May from IUP. And I'm also a nationally qualified NPC men's physique competitor. So that means I'm nationally qualified. So July 1st, I will be going to South Carolina to compete at the NPC Universe. And if I take top 2 with that show, I will be a IFBB professional bodybuilder. So I'm also a wrestling coach. I do online coaching for fitness, lifestyle, wellness, bodybuilding, weight loss, pretty much everything.
That's awesome. Yeah, so it's really cool. And I just want to point out, like, on top of all of Mitchell's extracurricular activities and him doing that bodybuilding, it's so important that he has his education in the background with nutrition to making sure that he's doing everything right for his body and, you know, really, really emphasizing that nutrition component. So with further ado, so the format of this webinar, we're going to do more of like an interview style. We'll have some Q&As that I have listed for Mitchell, and then we'll go from there. So it should last about roughly an hour. So for our first question that I have for you, it's how did you get started in bodybuilding and what kind of bodybuilding do you do? So maybe, I know you just kind of went over it, but just a little more elaborate for people who aren't as familiar with bodybuilding.
So I do men's physique. So there's men's physique, classic physique, and then open bodybuilding. Open bodybuilding is like the huge guys that you see. Men's physique, we wear board shorts, so they come down to your knees, and it's kind of like beach body, I guess, kind of like a look that you're going for. And I started working out originally for sports. So I started back in 8th grade, which was almost 10 years ago. And I did it because going into high school, I only weighed 100 pounds, and I played football and I wrestled. So I was trying to put on weight, and that was when I first started. And after that, it kind of evolved where the point was sports were almost second. But that's why I started originally, was to get stronger, to get more muscular, just for sports and wrestling in general.
That's awesome. So did you see like an increase within like your sports performance as well with like bodybuilding and putting on like, I guess, more like muscle mass, if you will?
Yeah, I didn't really start, I wouldn't call it bodybuilding until I got to like maybe 18 years old, until I got to college, because I didn't really compete until then. But up until then, I started, I think in 8th grade, I weighed like 100 pounds. Then I wrestled 115. Then I went from 115 to 132 to 155 to 160. And now I'm almost 200 pounds. So it's been like a very slow progression over 10 years.
Awesome. So for our next question, I have, what are some of your long-term goals and what motivates you to working towards these goals? So maybe past goals that you've achieved too.
Yeah, so like I said, in high school, my goals were different. They were more sports related. So my goal was to become a state qualifier and get 100 wins in high school, which I achieved. But after that, my goals slowly, I set more short-term goals and have like a long-term goal in mind. So originally, I just wanted to compete. My first show I competed, I actually took 3rd, but I was 18 years old and I was competing against 30 and 40-year-olds.
Oh, wow.
So then after that, so after that, my next goal was to actually go and win the show. So I competed last August and I won the show. I won my class, and then I won the overall title. So I won the entire show. So now my goal is, in a couple months, I'm going to South Carolina, like I said, and I'll be competing for my pro card. So that's my next goal, is to go pro. And my long-term goal is to just build a clientele. But like the end goal is to be like a top IFBB pro, like competing at the Mr. Olympia, that kind of stuff. Like that's the whole goal of all of it that I've had for forever.
Wow, that's awesome. So you're really in it for like the long run here.
Yeah, definitely.
So some of these shows, I'm not, like I'm familiar with my sports background, but with like the whole bodybuilding, that's still like new era or I guess new grounds for me. So it sounds like these shows are like super competitive. How many people about like enter them? What's the age limit? And then is there different like weight classes? How does that work?
Yeah, so mine in men's physique, we go by height. So there's different classes, like there's like up to and including 5'6", and there's 5'6" to 5'7.5", 5'7.5". So there's different height classes. classic physique, which is a little bit more like real bodybuilding. They do weight caps, so you can only weigh so much, but not mine. But what was the other question that you asked in there?
Is there like different like classes and like how many people
Oh yeah.
I guess enter?
So it depends on the show, because there's bigger shows and there's smaller shows. The national shows have, in my division, will have 8 different classes. So because it's such a big national show, they might have 30 to 50 people in each class. Now, if you go to the regional shows that are a little bit smaller, I think I had 4 or 5 classes in the last show, and there was maybe 10, 15 people in each class. So it just depends on the show. My first show that I ever did was called the Pittsburgh Pro, and that was a pretty big show. So I think there was 8 different classes. There's a whole bunch of different age groups. There's teen, amateur, open, which is any age, and then there's like masters, where the people it's like over 45 years old or something like that. So they really break it up into smaller groups.
Okay, gotcha. So it wasn't until, I'm just curious because you said the Pittsburgh show. So it wasn't until like you came to IUP that you then started competing at that college, well, throughout your college?
Right. Yeah. Like I kind of had the goal in mind to compete once I got to college, so I could more focus on it. I wasn't doing a whole bunch of other stuff, but it just worked out that since our school is by Pittsburgh, there's a lot of big shows in Pittsburgh since it's a big city. So it just worked out that it was, 30, 40 minutes away, and it was just easy to make the trip there.
Right. Which is really, really convenient for you.
Yeah.
Rather than now you said you're going to South Carolina. So that's a little bit of a trip.
Yeah. It's supposed to be in New Jersey.
Little vacation.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in New Jersey, and then they moved it to South Carolina. So it went from a 2-hour drive to a 12-hour drive.
Oh, that stinks. Is there like any like COVID regulations? Is that why they moved it or anything? Like,
yeah, because down south it's a little bit more relaxed. I know at my last show, they didn't make us wear a mask when we were on stage, like doing our own like little posing routine. But when you're on stage with other people and like the lineup where they compare you, we had to wear masks and everything. And you were quite with them.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense with all COVID restrictions. And even I know from us still training at like the D2 level as athletes, they make us wear a mask inside with training, which can definitely be different
yeah
compared to not even when you're doing your sets and you're really trying to like max out and do all that other stuff. So it can definitely be challenging. But
yeah, and I coach wrestling too. I coach wrestling at my my high school where I went, and they make them wrestle in masks for the full match live. Yeah,
it makes sense because of, I guess they rank different sports on like different tiers. So I know like softball, if you want to argue, is probably one of the most socially distant sports. Yeah. But I mean, they're still going to make us wear masks because you'll still have close contact. But I couldn't imagine with like the strenuous activity you have as a wrestler, and then how much you're really gasping for air between, I guess, like your performance and like competing. So that's got to be a challenge.
It sure is.
Awesome. So we'll move on to our next question. So tell us a bit about your workouts and what they look like. How do you like to train? Do you have different trainings versus like bulking and cutting?
So it kind of depends whether it's on season or off season, whether I'm like cutting for a show or like trying to put on more size in the off season. And it's funny because even though I'm a coach, I have my own coach, because you need like someone to look at it subjectively and like look at you and tell you what you need without your personal bias in it. So it kind of changes. When I'm in my off season, you're lifting a lot heavier, lower reps. The workouts aren't quite as long. I only do like 15, 20 minutes of cardio a day. It's not that bad. And they're more like, I really, really enjoy the off season. You're getting to eat a good amount. You're not starving and stuff. But then when prep comes around, you start prep, it generally increases. So I'll start off with doing my 2-hour workout, and there's a lot higher sets. It's more intense. And then I'll do maybe 40, 45 minutes of cardio after that, after my workout. And it's just a steady state on an incline is what I do, because what I like doing. But then as you get closer to your show, it gets more and more and more. So towards the end of my prep for my last show, I was waking up in the morning, doing 45 minutes of fasted cardio, eating my meal, go to class. And then I go to the gym and I'd have like a 2, maybe even sometimes longer 2-hour workout. And then I'd do another 45 to 50 minutes of cardio. So I was doing close to 2 hours of cardio a day with a 2-hour workout in there, because my coach, he likes not cutting back on food. So I kind of eat the same amount, but just the amount of intensity goes up. So I'm burning more calories, but so he's not actually taking away any of my food, really, just a little bit of carbs he takes away.
Right. And what do you what do you think's like the purpose, and how does it help you taking like a little bit of carbs away rather than, not cutting them dry and doing a whole low carb diet, I guess?
Well, like I definitely don't do like a low carb. Like I think the lowest my calories ever get is like 2,500 calories, which is not, it's still a good amount of food.
Right.
But the purpose is just to cut back a little bit because you don't want to cut your protein out. Your protein is what helps maintain your muscle while you're cutting. So we leave the protein the same. I don't eat a lot of fat generally. Like maybe I'll have 1 or 2 servings, which is like half an avocado or 2 tablespoons of peanut butter with my meals, like once or twice. But so carbs are what we kind of cut out. And towards the end of a prep, when you're getting really, really close, then you cut your carbs really low down, which I never go 0 carb, but you cut it way down, and that depletes your muscles of glycogen. So that way, when you're depleting all the way until the day before your show, then you carb up and you eat a lot of carbs, and you pretty much only eat carbs the day of and the day before. And that fills your muscles up with glycogen, with water and stuff. And it just like makes you look so much bigger.
Right. That's really cool. I had said, I was talking to my roommates actually a couple of weeks ago, and I'd said if I could ever invent one thing, I would invent something that would like be able to tell us exactly precisely how many glycogen stores we have, because I feel like that's always it's hard to like really know how many carbs you can be eating without going over those glycogen stores, and like knowing as an athlete, seeing how like that fluctuates too between you being in season and really carb loading and not, definitely probably has some impact on performance.
Yeah, you definitely have to go. Like I said, when you get closer to the show, I'm sending my coach updates every single day. And towards the end, I'm sending him like the day of the show and the day before, I'm sending him updates, picture updates, like every hour. Because you can see how you just look different. You look smaller, you look flat, you look whatever. And then once you carb up, it's the exact opposite. You look full, you look round, you get like your veins coming out and stuff. So you have to like, there's no way of knowing. You just have to kind of see it and feel it yourself.
Right. Awesome. So, I also wanted to bring up, is there any, like, I guess, foods you'll typically like eat pre and post workout? Because I know with a lot of our members at our gym, a lot of people struggle with that, and they're not sure what they're eating. And we had done some nutrition segments and articles just about recommended foods and how to be eating. So what personally works for you, and what have you tried?
It doesn't really, it's kind of like the misconception that bodybuilders eat like rice and chicken, which is kind of funny because it's actually true. Like on a daily basis, that's what I eat. I eat egg whites and oatmeal for breakfast, and I have chicken and rice, beef and rice. And so my meals are pretty consistent. So I eat the same thing for 6 meals. So it doesn't really matter where I time them. Towards the end of prep, I try to put my meals with carbs in it, because I have meals without any carbs. I'll put those meals pre-workout, and then I'll put one after it just to like get your energy back. But for me, it doesn't matter a whole lot because I eat the same thing every day, and it's not, you know what I mean? It doesn't change that much.
Right. So if someone was like having, I guess, trouble, I mean, my nutrition advice would, I guess, be trying to like change up spices and like herbs and trying to like focus on that. But you also want to be careful too, because don't you have a strict like calorie plan you'll follow and how many you could be consuming? So you don't want to be adding too much additives, I guess, because that might mess up plans.
Yeah, there's kind of 2 different plans I do, and it depends on the person. I like a very, very structured plan. So my coach will tell me, here's meal 1, here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The entire day is planned out, and I don't think about it. I literally just eat exactly what's on there, so I don't even have to. But some people like doing macros and kind of switching it around and stuff, which I find towards the end of prep, I just don't really like doing that. But there's definitely a lot of things that you can do that change it up. There's a whole lot of like sugar-free barbecue sauces, different seasonings, stuff like that. And one thing people say is bad is like the sugar-free artificial sweeteners. I probably eat more artificial sweeteners than like anybody ever. Like everything I eat is fake sugar, which I don't have a problem with it. So.
Right. Makes sense. Awesome. So that's really cool. I think what I also really liked is how you told us a little bit how you have a coach, because that allows someone else to look at you subjectively. And it's amazing because even as a professional yourself and someone who has been doing this for so long, do you necessarily need to spend money on the coach? No, but is it going to probably help you to increase that performance and have that accountability? Yes. So you're probably going to get better results in the long term and someone to really hold you there accountable. So
yep. And I try to teach my clients also. So I'll give them like a very structured plan. We'll find exactly where what their calories and stuff are at. But then after that, I start implementing, and this is what my coach does as well, where your diet plan will say, 6 ounces of protein, 1 cup of carbs, 1 serving of fat. And so there's a template and it has like all the carbs listed that you can have all the fats. And that person, your client can start piecing it together and kind of changing it around. And that really teaches them to like adding up macros and trying to hit those calories on their own. So that hopefully, like if it's just a lifestyle client or a weight loss client, they can do it on their own eventually. They're not just blindly following.
Right, right. Which is so important. And I like to use this one term, and I think it's like super cliche. But you ever hear the saying of like, you give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day, but you teach a man how to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime. And I like implement that with like fad diets, because I feel like you give someone a fad diet, they'll lose weight for a day or gain weight based off their nutrition goals. But if you teach someone how to actually eat balance, they'll maintain their goals for a whole lifetime. So that's super important.
Exactly.
All right, so we'll move on to our next question. So how has your nutrition impacted your bodybuilding goals, and what common misconceptions are there with nutrition and bodybuilding?
Well, I kind of already said that the misconceptions are actually true. Like, not everybody does that. That's how I do it. So I literally eat chicken and rice for almost every meal, and that's fine for me. Like, I don't drink, I don't go out and do stuff like that. So that's just my choice. And some people don't like doing that, but that's how I do it. But nutrition is like, people say, oh, it's 90% nutrition and only 10% gym and stuff. It's really like 100% of both. Like, if you don't have good nutrition, you're not going to gain muscle, you're not going to lose weight, you're not going to get in shape. And if you can eat good and still lose weight, but you're not going to build muscle. So you really need both to be complete. And it's funny, like when I get off of a show, I take some time off, you relax a little bit, you eat some of the stuff that you enjoy eating. And so that between that time and when you start prep again, once you start eating like healthy food of like chicken and rice and stuff, it's crazy how your body composition changes. Like, I'm eating 3,400 calories right now, and I'm actually losing fat and gaining muscle. It's just like nutrition is such a huge part. And when I go to the gym, I'll go to the gym and I'll see people there every single day for, like at college, I'll see the same people there for 4 years, and they don't really improve, a lot of them. And that's why, it's because they might go to the gym and work out, but they're not going through that with that when they leave the gym.
Right, definitely. And like, I feel like it's so important too, because you put in so much work to build the muscle, build the calories. If you're not coming home and you're not replenishing, you're not maximizing your gains at all. So all that work you're doing is just going right out the window. And I feel like nutrition's such a part that's overlooked, but also people are so much more willing to put the work in the gym but not put any work in at home, and they're really going to do themselves such a deficit at the end of the day.
Yeah, there's no break from nutrition. The gym, you can go, you can work hard for an hour or two. The nutrition, it's all day, every day. Like, you can go out and have dinner with family and stuff, but in general, it's pretty much all day.
Right.
It's just not, you can't eat good for 1 hour a day and expect it to do anything.
Right, exactly. So we talked about nutrition and food, but what about the importance of hydration? How has that impacted your training, and what do you do to maintain your hydration levels?
That's another misconception. Like, I don't bring my water jug around the gym and stuff, but I definitely have a water jug, and I drink a lot of water because, what is it? Your muscle's like 85% water or something.
Yeah.
So like, it's full of water. You need your water. Plus, I eat very high protein diets and stuff like that. So it's very crucial that you're getting enough water to help your kidneys and stuff as well.
Right. Makes sense. So now let me ask you this. This is something else I've heard that I'm not entirely sure about, but I've heard with different like trainings and different like movements you'll be doing, your body actually releases different hormones that are going to help you like increase certain weights or improve with other exercises. Is that something that like you're aware about? Or
I've definitely heard that. Like, first of all, I know that weightlifting in general will like help your metabolism stuff. Like, it will speed up your metabolism. But also I've heard that, and I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that lifting really heavy, like stuff like deadlift, squats, heavy bench press stuff, actually like releases, like you said, different hormones that help you lose weight, help you burn fat, stuff like that. And it actually, when you're bulking and trying to gain a lot of weight, it increases your appetite as well. So your ghrelin and all those, that the hormones that control appetite.
Right. Awesome. So then, kind of circling back, I know that I'm kind of like going in some circles here, but the importance of cardio in your training, how does that differ from when you're bulking versus when you're cutting? How does that look like, and what is the significance of cardio? Because I know some people go strictly to the gym and they're like, I will not touch cardio, I will not do it. But I feel like as a bodybuilder? You said you even do cardio, so how is it helping you?
So in the off season, I really just do cardio because it's good for your heart. It's just good for your health in general. It does burn a little bit of extra calories. Just it gives like you can eat more food then. In the off season, it's not really for cardio. Like you do it, it does help your heart and stuff. But it's to burn extra calories. So the more cardio that you do and the harder your workouts are, the more food that you can eat. Which when you're starving, you want as much food as you can get. Like I said, in the off season, I do it just because it's healthy. It's kind of relaxing. I just go on the treadmill and walk for a little bit with my headphones on. You can think for a little bit. You don't have to worry about anything.
Right. Awesome. Something that I thought super interesting that I've recently learned myself within the last year, and I never really thought about this way, but I always used to be someone who goes to the gym, and I'd start off with my cardio because I like to get my sweat going before I really go get my lift on. But I've heard that if you have a nutrition goal of wanting to like lose weight or like slim down, it's actually better to do cardio after you do your lift because you're going to start burning your glycogen initially through your strength training. And then once your strength training is complete, if you get on that treadmill and your glycogen stores are all used up and you've used your energy, it's going to start burning fat.
Yeah, so I think it's one of those things, whatever your goals are. So if you want to gain muscle, you want to have all of your energy. You want to be fresh for your workout that's going to be gaining your muscle. If you wanted to actually be increasing your cardio and that's what you were working for, then I would say do that first. Just do whatever part that you're really focused on first, and then like you can do your cardio after. It's just kind of dependent on your own goals.
Right. Makes sense. All right, so we'll move on. We're on question 5 here. The question is, what has been the most rewarding part of your journey and most challenging part of your journey as a bodybuilder?
I mean, as a bodybuilder, as a coach?
How about both?
As a coach, I mean, it's definitely pretty cliche, but just watching people like they struggle to lose weight and stuff, and helping them achieve that it's amazing, to watch people actually like lose weight and stuff. I think the most rewarding part besides that though is just like I said, teaching people. So like as from a business perspective, it's not really good, but as me trying to help people, it is. Like I teach people how to do it on their own, so that after a couple of months, whatever, they know how to do it on their own, and they don't really need me anymore if they're just trying to lose weight and stuff, because they can do it on their own. They can make their diets how they want to, and I think that's the best part is teaching them to be able to be self-sufficient in it.
Right. Awesome. So you are, when this term of coach, like you don't only help your clients with the bodybuilding, but like you said, but also the nutrition. Do you feel that there are clients more that need like help with one over the other, or do you offer services that could be just like, okay, just health coaching or just personal training?
Well, I'm taking my NASM CPT certification right now, so I'm not really a personal trainer, but I do the nutrition to make workouts, and I am knowledgeable on it. But I kind of do it as an all-inclusive thing. So as a coach, I give you everything, and my plans have cardio, ab workouts, nutrition, workouts, stretches, warm-ups, cool-downs, like literally everything you need. And so the goal is to teach you to do it on your own. So maybe you do like a coach to tell you what to do, but if you go out for dinner or you go on vacation or whatever, you have the knowledge you don't have to completely fall off your diet. You can kind of stay in the ballpark on your own.
Right. Awesome. All right, so we'll move on to question 6. What would you say people are struggling? What would you say to people who are in bodybuilding scenarios and they're struggling with their appearance or maximizing their gains? So what kind of nutrition advice or bodybuilding advice would you advise someone who's struggling in the bodybuilding realm?
Again, it's a little bit different. Like if you're on a contest prep, you got to be really, really strict. But if you're just trying to gain muscle in the gym, you just want to look at whatever, I think you need to have an attainable diet and attainable workout plan. I always say like it's much better to be consistent over a year than go really, really hard for 2 months. Like if you go hard for 2 months and then it's not attainable, you're starving, you can't stand that, you're not being able to go out with your friends, you're not eating and stuff, it's not working, and you're going to fall off the diet and it's not going to work. So that's why I implement a lot of like macro tracking, calorie tracking. Like I use my fitness pal and stuff. So that way, like I coach like even like my brother and stuff, I help out. And I know for a fact he likes going out with his friends and everything and eating out and whatever. So I give him macros and he can track it. And if he doesn't want to eat 6 meals in a day and he wants to go out and have a big breakfast, he can do that. And he just fits it into his plan for the day.
Right. Makes sense. So how do you feel about meal plans? Like I know like some people prefer structured, but would you rather people stick to a meal plan, or would you rather people really learn about balancing those macros, or what are your thoughts about that or opinions?
I implement both. So in my plan specifically, I do like, okay, meal one, you can have 1 cup of carbs, you have 1 serving of fat, and you get 6 ounces of protein. So that person then can look and say, okay, I'm going to have my meal. I want steak today. I want steak. I want potatoes. And then I'll have some avocado with it. Or they can move it around, or maybe they just want like some butter on there, whatever. They can move it around. And that way they're still following a structured plan, but they're also implementing it on their own. And they're eating stuff that they like, not stuff that I have to tell them that they have to eat.
Right. Which makes sense.
That's part. Mm-hmm.
That's nice that they have that free range, because I know like some people or clients I know I've worked with prefer meal plans, which is fine. Everyone's different. Mm-hmm. Some people need a little more structure, but it's hard to get on the same page when maybe what my meal plan might be is a little different than what they want to eat. So, and ultimately I really think that being able to balance your food and being able to really look at your plate and knowing what you're needing to consume based off your nutrition goals, that's what's going to help you ultimately in the end, you know, because you want to get something out of this. You want to learn how to live, how to eat right, and carry that throughout the rest of your life. So,
yep, that's why I don't really enforce fad diets, because I think a lot of them they're like to the extreme, like no carbs, only meat, cuts out entire food groups and stuff. And people like that might work for you for a couple of months, but you're gonna burn out. Maybe you like eating carbs. Like if people love carbs, so like I never tell people to do keto. If you want to do keto, that's fine, but I'm never gonna tell you to do it, because carbs are extremely important, and that's just my opinion on it. So my plans are generally, here you get 12 ounces of vegetables throughout the day. You can split them up however you want. You get 1 or 2 servings of fruit. You can have this amount of carbs, this amount of fat, this amount of proteins. Go crazy, do whatever you want. For those of the people that are a little bit more relaxed. And I think that way that works the best, because you can live your entire life like that. Like that's not something you'll fall off of in 2 months. You can do that for 10 years without too much problem.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think it's funny that you bring up the fad diets, because being in the athlete realm, I hear about them all the time, and many of my teammates that are wanting to do them. And it's funny, like with the education that I have, we both have, you kind of sit in the corner and you're just like shaking your head. And it's hard, because I've learned that some people are going to willingly do whatever they want, and people do these fad diets and follow them, but ultimately they always end in failure, or maybe some success, but not sustainable success throughout the rest of their life. And it's just funny, because I've learned that people are going to do them and you kind of let them do them. But it's like, if you're coming through me for my nutrition advice, I'm not going to give it to you unless you ask for it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I did keto at the end of my first prep, and it did work. Like I lost water weight, I lost weight like crazy. And then as soon as I got off prep and I went back to eating a normal diet, like I put on weight so quick, and it's just not sustainable, and I didn't like it. But you're always told from the time you're 5 years old, you got to eat your fruits and vegetables. You got to eat this. And if they're carbs, if you're cutting carbs out and you're not eating fruits or vegetables, you're missing out on all those micronutrients. So keto might work for somebody, but in general, I don't think it is very good for the general public. Maybe a couple of people here and there enjoy it, but
right.
That's just my opinion on it.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I mean, when you look at it from like a clinical aspect, like there are some advantages to some of these diets for people who have been diagnosed with certain diseases. But if you are a totally healthy individual without any of those diagnosis of any of those diseases, I highly would not recommend doing any of it, because there's a reason why those are macronutrients and micronutrients that our body needs to live. So absolutely. I feel like a lot of people forget that and we live in a world where people want immediate gratification and want to say immediate results, but it's just not sustainable.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next question. What kind of services do you offer for people who need help with bodybuilding? I know we kind of touched on about this, but it would be a good review for our viewers. And where can people reach you?
So probably the best way to reach me is my Instagram. It's Mitch_41fit. And I have my email. You can DM me, anything like that. But I do pretty much everything because of our background in nutrition. And I have 10 years of experience lifting, 4 or 5 years of competitive bodybuilding. Like I said, I'm working on my NASM certified personal trainer certification, and I'll have the dietetics degree in May. I do weight loss, weight gain, bodybuilding preps, lifestyle maintenance, like everything you can think of. So I pretty much cover it all.
That's awesome. There's no area that you lack. It's good. It's awesome to have that nutrition degree, especially when you've been brought up, doing athletics and on top of bodybuilding and a lot of self-taught knowledge. I think it's great to have both of that to really, I guess, benefit not only yourself but your future clients. So that's super good. All right. Well, that is it with questions. And I do not see any that have been listed into the chat. So at that point, this definitely concludes our interview. So I want to thank you so much, Mitch, for giving us all your knowledge on bodybuilding and powerlifting and nutrition. It's all been super beneficial. And I'm so glad that our members were able to get someone else's different perspective on it who also has been so knowledgeable in the field. So with that all said, thank you so much on my behalf, on Forever Fitness's behalf, and Dwayne's behalf. So
yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so we'll definitely get your information too out there to our viewers. So if they want to reach you at anywhere, have any other questions for you, we'll have them just reach out to you through social media.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Mitch.
You're welcome.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.